guys. So it is my pleasure right now to welcome you to our guest this week, the New York Rats. Let me bring them all one at a time, guys. I think I got you muted. Let me unmute that.
And Henry.
All right, we're good, except for this mic here. There we go. Guys, thank you so much for taking some time out of your weekend to hang with us tonight.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Can you hear us?
So I wanted to cut base. First off, if you guys could introduce yourselves, the members of the band who might not be with us this evening, and that sort of thing.
Sure. I'm Joe, and I play bass, and I'm the manager of the band. Then we have down below here is Mr. Henry. He's our lead guitarist, and Charlotte is our vocalist extraordinaire. We're missing two people today. One is our rhythm guitarist, Tyler, and the other is our drummer, which is Tony.
And how did you guys get started?
I started this band probably around 3 years ago, but like I said to you offline, we had a lot of personnel changes. People would try out for the band, but they weren't into what I was into. They didn't share our vision for what we wanted to do. They made promises and didn't keep. They didn't show up to practice. So it was a good year, another year and a half before we got this lineup. Basically, we got most of the people, not Henry, but the rest of the people I think I got from Craigslist, actually. And it worked out great. These people are our core. They're very talented, and I enjoy being with them, both on stage and off, and we have a lot of fun together.
Now, you guys are in the heartbeat of the American birthplace of punk rock. I mean, we know it all came from Europe, but then once it hit the States, it was New York. Is that punk attitude still there in New York?
It is, but it's different than it used to be. I lived through that old punk scene. I was a regular at CBGB's. I saw all these bands before they made it, before they got famous, like the Ramones, Johnny Thunders, the Damned, the Dead Boys. So all of those guys, I've seen them, hung out with them. Ramones, and it's different. It's different. I see a return of some of it, but it's not as inclusive as it used to be. I mean, we used to hang out with the bands all the time, and that really doesn't happen too much anymore.
Gotcha.
But it's good. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's just good to see at least people have an interest in it, and they have a bit of the attitude, the old punk attitude, and it's for me it's very encouraging, especially given the political climate.
When I was in college, I had a whole course on punk rock and Dadaism put together. That was a really, really great class. But I kind of wanted to go counterclockwise around the screen and talk about influences. What got you into playing music? Who you look up to, and like, who are you listening to still today? We'll start on my bottom left.
Henry, that's you.
I mean, I have to give it up to the Ramones.
I don't hear Henry.
You don't hear me? Hold on.
I can hear you. You're a little low.
Oh.
I was going to say, yeah.
How about now?
We can hear you. Just still a little low. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, like I was saying, the Ramones, of course, they were a good influence. A lot of the not much punk, but more rock genre. I mean, I listened to Guns N' Roses. I listened to Metallica. I mean, I've had some heavier influences, but what I like about the punk, it's so much fun to play. And, you know, the rhythms, the chords, the changes, things like that. Um, and plus, going to college for as a music major, I was classically trained, so it opened up a lot of doors for me.
Awesome. Moving on to our with us this evening.
Charlotte, you're up.
Okay. Well, I have to be honest. I'm kind of a wild card. Um, my influences were Queen, Annie Lennox, Enya, and pretty much all Broadway movie musicals, all of that, Singing in the Rain, Guys and Dolls. Music has been a huge part of my life. I started playing flute and alto sax when I was young, and then I've also wanted to play the drums since I was 10. So music has always been a part of my life, and it's why I love to sing. It's like breathing for me. To bring this back around to what we're actually talking about, I got grief from somebody that I just listened to mainstream music, and I felt challenged and I didn't like that. And so I started doing research about a year and a half ago, and it just took off from there. I became absolutely obsessed. I am big into like the Cro-Mags have been an influence. Alice Bag has been an influence. I find myself listening to older punk as opposed to newer punk. But if I'm going to listen to newer punk, we're talking like Crisis Actor, or I think it's called This Is a Revolver. I want to hear lyrics that actually address something, talking about, you know, politics, essentially. Actually,
I can't hear any of them.
What?
At all.
What?
Say that again.
I can't hear anybody at all, except for you.
Oh.
I hear them. Not sure what's going on.
We do a song called the Dark Age of Technology.
Yeah.
You know, that was my next question. You kind of jumped me with that. That was the song that I found you guys on. That was the song that attracted me to your band, and really wanted to dig into that. I want to know a little bit about the writing behind that and each of your personal opinions about that song.
Well, it's pretty much about what technology is doing to people, and the inevitability of it all. There's like no stopping it now, which is why I actually used an AI to create the cover for the song. It's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. There's no going back. There's no going back. Right. People cry about AI. I don't want to do this. You know, it's not real. It's not that. But I'm sure people did the same thing with analog versus transistor, and power tools versus hand saws. You gotta move with the times. If you use AI as a tool, which is what we do, we use it as a tool just to kind of, once we write a song, we do a quick version of it and then we play it, but nothing, the songs are all written, but most of them are written by me. And it's, it's inevitable. It's inevitable. 10 years from now, people are going to say, well, what do you mean you don't use AI? You know?
Now, I can't speak for anybody's ages here. I know I'm from Gen X, so Gen X, we're terrified of this AI, I feel, because we grew up being warned about how bad this moment was going to be. I mean,
Yeah.
every movie from like D. Snyder's movie to all kinds of other AI like warnings. I think that's why we're scared to death about this right now.
Yeah. Terminator.
What do you guys think?
Uh, so, I mean, I don't know, Henry, do you want to go first? I'm laughing, but yeah, go ahead if you want.
I'm a fellow Gen Xer myself, and I remember growing up where none of this technology was in existence, and all we had were street lamps just to let us know what time to go home from playing out.
Right.
You know, also thinking about it, we drove around with no seatbelts. If one of our uncles had that, you know, the station wagon that opens up seats in the back, and you know, nobody thought about even putting on a seatbelt.
You thought you were something if you were sitting in that back seat facing the backwards, like facing the back way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, the jungle gyms, the like that merry-go-round spin thing, which, mind you, I must have fallen off of that 2 or 3 times, got banged up, but you know, we were resilient. We just got up and continued. It's not like how it's not that today, you know, like everybody's more or less going like this all the time, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, I could tell you firsthand as a middle school teacher. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it every day of my life.
Yep.
But
I feel
which
it
is
too.
why I thought the song was so brilliant. Is there are ways that we have benefited strongly from like the use of internet, but then there's other downfalls, like watching kids make TikTok videos in class. Like,
Yeah.
there's pros and cons on both sides, but
Yeah.
wanted to see how you got like. Did you guys all write that collectively, or was that written by you, or how did that come about?
That was written by me. I basically got the idea from a kind of dystopian tabletop game, and they had a thing where they had a dark age of technology, and the men in iron ruined all of civilization. So I said, "Oh, that's a great title, Dark Age of Technology," and then I just went from there. It's very. I think it's very appropriate for these days because there's just there's no stopping technology. It's kind of like a runaway train. You know, I think a big part of it is it's a distraction. It's to distract people from what's really going on, you know. And you know, you got to have the latest shiny new toy, the latest phone, the latest, you know, earbuds. You know, it's insane. I saw somebody told me they bought earbuds for $250. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
You know, they're just wires or wireless and a little tiny speaker in your ear. You know, but there's another song that, since you brought up, you did punk and Dada. We're debuting a new song in our set list next Friday when we play at the Parkside, called Absurd. And it's based on absurdism.
Now, the other thing that I absolutely love about punk is I feel, as you could tell by the name of the show, the Rock and Roll Union, and the name of the community that we've built, is I'm really old school as far as rock and roll, and I feel like punk always captured that. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, there were some really insane actions, some crazy things, some attitude, but I feel like punk was always closer to rock and roll than maybe metal or other forms of rock were. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree. I definitely agree. Punk was very inclusive back in the day. We had all kinds of nationalities and races and and women for the first time were having bands. Before that, women really didn't play. You had like Susie Quattro, and that was pretty much
Yeah.
it. And Janis Joplin, you know, and that was pretty much it. I mean, women really got a chance with punk because we didn't give a shit about it. You know, if you could play, if you had something to say, we were willing to listen. You know,
Yeah.
we were also willing to listen to new stuff. We didn't just want to hear tribute bands and cover songs. And, you know, we used to call them copy bands back then because that's what they did. They just took people's stuff and just copied it. You know, they're playing note for note. Who cares? Who wants to hear that? I'm watching right now with the technology. If I wanted to hear it note for note, I'll listen to it on YouTube.
Yeah. Now you guys briefly touched on it. I know we're living in a really crazy time in history right now, especially in this country as far as punk with the the political conversation or with speaking out aggressively or angrily about what's going on. Um, I know that other forms of music. I always say I don't know when rock became went from damn the man to join the man. Like it
Yeah.
always seems like my side's better than your side, and punk was always against everything,
Yep.
against like all the injustices going on. How do you guys reflect that in your music, and do you guys feel that escapism through that?
Why don't one of you guys answer?
I was going to say I do. So my background is in theater. It's in theater and film. And one of my best friends knew immediately why I act, which is escapism. It is literally stepping into a book, a story. I get to step into another character and I don't have to apologize for anything. It is so freeing. Well, to some extent, that's an oxymoron because of how rigid theater can become and be. And when I started with this band, punk to me means freedom. So being able to say exactly what's in my head, which is, for instance, I can't stand the fact that people are less kind and considerate and decent. But of
Yeah,
course,
absolutely.
I know enough, I feel. And also there's a lot of anger there, a lot of anger that I'd like to find a different way to say that than be on stage and just be like, be more kind, considerate, and courteous. I'd like to, spell it out a little bit more and make it a little more punctuated. But that is what is important about it to me are the lyrics, what you're able to say and really get across to people, have your audience connect with each other,
And
not
I've
just
been thinking about that like nothing is as punk right now or as anti-establishment as caring about one another and just loving each other. Like that's the opposite of what the establishment wants from us right now.
Yeah.
And it's like to
it's the
fly in the face of that is really what punk is all about.
and I know that it's
We
something
were
that can get made
actually
fun of.
on a free CD put out by Punkerton Records called Rock Against Trump. And we did a song called Stupid Monkeys. And it's about wishing you were stupid so all this nonsense wouldn't bother you. You know, so we are political. We stand for equality. We stand for people's rights. We stand for the downtrodden among us that get shit on all the time. The immigrants. This is not the country I grew up in. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time I think we come up with the dumbest president ever, we outdo ourselves. I thought George W. Bush was a total, idiot, and this guy makes him look like a Rhodes Scholar. He's embarrassing. My friends in other countries say, "What the hell is with your country?" And I'm ashamed. I'm truly ashamed as to what's happening here, and how this fraudster got elected. He ran for a couple of things here in New York, and he couldn't get elected dog catcher here. He tried for the Senate. He tried for the Senate. He tried for governor. No, but we know what he's about. He's a liar, a thief, a criminal. I mean, I know people I have a contractor friend who did work for him, and he was stiffed.
Yeah.
And he has that reputation of doing that to everybody. So, unfortunately, there's a saying that says, you get the leaders you deserve. We must have done something really bad,
We stopped thinking for
Yeah.
ourselves.
Speaking of punk, one of the bands that I've been watching closely lately, just because of their political standing, is the Dropkick Murphys. I absolutely love everything they've been doing lately. They've been really standing up for themselves and playing protests and to me that's punk, that's rock, that's
Yep.
what our community is about.
Yep.
Have you guys ever faced any kind of fan or anybody in the bars or anybody that came out to watch you guys play want to get into that discussion?
I don't think so. We kind of have to be really subtle about it. We have a song called "The Orange King is Dead," but that's about as graphic as we get. We kind of allude to it because we don't want surveillance on us. We don't want to be bothered with the government, because you can't really say anything. They're monitoring everything. I probably said too much tonight, but it's weird how the hardcore community is very strange. We're not hardcore at all, and don't want to be. We knew some hardcore bands, and they're very into the MAGA shit,
Yeah.
And it's I can't explain that. That is not punk to do that. That's, to me, that's the opposite of punk. You don't join that. I always used to live by the Marx Brothers quote that any club that wants me is not good enough to join. It boggles my mind. There've been it was before the rest of the band members here were with the band. We went to Washington Square Park for a show, and these MAGA guys were trying to screw up the show with all these other good bands that were playing, and playing for good causes. It was a charity gig, and they're screwing it up. They're trying to screw up. They shut the amplifiers off. They shut the power off. So
Wow.
it's stupid is what it is. It's just like, that's to me the biggest difference about like being inclusive and stuff. I mean, we welcomed when hardcore started, we welcomed them, but then they got kind of like really crazy. It's not all of them. Don't want to make it seem like anti-hardcore. I do like some of this stuff, and some of the bands are really cool, and the people are really good, and I've met some really nice people. But it's a lot of very conservative people. Some even venture towards the fascist side.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how angry we got, we never, as punks in the late 70s and early 80s, we never went that far. The angriest bands were so totally anti-fascist, like the Sex Pistols and the Clash.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, they were against that. You know, they were more for an anarchy kind of situation. But you
One
know,
thing I wanted to ask you guys based on the band is you guys have released more than a handful of singles at this point. Is there
yes,
any look on maybe an upcoming EP album in the works?
yeah, we're probably going to record in the fall. Again, we're just incorporating some new songs into our set, and they're really good songs. Um, I, I'm a little bit prejudiced because I wrote them, but they are really good, really catchy, really fun songs, and the songs, though I write them, they're by no means finished when I finish writing them. Henry changes his guitar on it. Charlotte will sing it a certain way. The other guys will add all their touches. It really is a group effort. The songs are by the New York Rats. They're not by Joe Radabali. They're not.
And the best part with punk is you can put 25 songs down and only use like 20 minutes. So,
yeah. We got a couple of
so,
quick ones.
I know you mentioned an upcoming show. What do you guys got coming up soon that people can get out and see?
Well, we're going to be at the Parkside Lounge in Manhattan on Houston Street next Friday, I think it is, the 18th, about 8 o'clock. We've been playing out quite a bit lately, to at least once, most times twice a month. And it's been helping us. It's been helping us get our names out there, get people to hear us, you know, because I hate to rely just on Spotify and Facebook and Instagram. I want people to see us live and hear us live because we're a fun band. I mean, people have a good time at our shows. We're silly, you know. We're funny, but and you never know what you're going to get with us. You know, we
Now, do you guys have a website or a social media? Anything else that people can track you guys?
Yeah, we're on all the major social medias. We're on. We have our own website, nyrats.com. You can see our stuff there. But what we're doing is all about us having fun, and we got something to say. You know,
Awesome.
We don't.
Now I'm going to end this real quick. I got one last question for you guys, and we're going to again go counterclockwise. If you have one goal or one wish for the band for the second half of 2026, what would that be?
Wow, that's a good question. For me, it would be just performing out a little bit more. Hopefully at bigger venues, you know, a bigger stage. I would love to do that. And just all around that we become successful, record an album, and see where it goes from there.
Awesome. Great goals, man. Charlotte?
You know what? Actually, I'd like to have one or two of my songs be played by the band and me singing them on stage.
Awesome. And what is your goal for the second half of 2026?
Goal is just to keep doing what we're doing, which is getting out there, getting in front of people, showing them who we are, what we're like, what we like, what we don't like, and take it from there. If they like us, they like us. If they don't, you know, screw them.
Absolutely. That's it. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking some time out of your weekends to hang with us this evening. We'll definitely be in touch. I'm going to try and get out to a show. I'm not too far from you guys.
Great.
please do. We'd
Love to see you there. And thank you for having us on. It
Thank
was
you.
a pleasure. It was
Thanks,
a lot
guys.
of fun.
Have a great week.
You too.
Take it easy.
See ya. All right, guys. So there's the New York Dolls. I mean, the New York Dolls. The New York Rats. I did it again. It's a Freudian slip. The New York Rats, guys, not the New York Dolls, not to be confused with the New York Dolls. That was the New York Rats, guys. Great band. A lot of good stuff to talk about.